How would you describe my relationship with Micheal?
How would I describe your relationship with Micheal?
So what's the best thing about having a brother?
No, you answer it first.
Okay. I would say the best thing about having a brother is just like having someone who you always know you can count on. It sounds cheesy, but like having someone who you feel like is truly an equal.
You have something you want to say to people?
Welcome, my friend. This is the Micheal interview. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good.
It's good to hear, man. So obviously I brought you here today. I think you have an interesting story to tell. I just want to ask you a few questions about yourself. Also, regarding our relationship, because, it was funny when I first did this process with you, doing this documentary with you, I really wanted to make it about the fact that you had autism, because I think you have kind of a story to tell that, not most people have. So I want to start off by asking, how would you describe our relationship?
So as you may know, our relationship is very distant from each other, and I think I know a big reason on why that is. So we have completely different opposite lives. Like, you've been very social at school all your life, and me, I don't talk to anybody. You go out a lot, I don't go out a lot. So considering our relationships are very like our lives are different from each other, it makes our relationship a bit more distant. I think that's a big reason.
But do you think in some ways that if you maybe went and go talk to someone that, you would find friends, or was it always just something like you're too, like, kind of, you're just too worried on how it's going to go?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I'm kind of worried when I approach people. I just don't know what they're going to say.
Why?
I don't know. I just have a feeling in me. I'm always nervous to talk to somebody.
Do you have a lot of friends online?
Yes.
And why do you think that is, as opposed to people in person?
Because they approach me. I don't approach them. They approach me, so I just started a connection with them just out of nowhere. So I know people from around the world now. I talk to them every day because it's all I really have to talk to.
So would you say that's one of the big things, is that when people give you a chance?
Yes.
And
everyone at school, they don't give me a chance ever. Like,
right.
They just completely just pretend. Like, it's like they don't even know I'm there. They just pretend I'm not even there. Like, in grade school, I tried to be social, but I got known as very annoying. So when people said that was it. I'm done.
It kind of ruined it for
It
you.
ruined it for me. So I was just like, okay, I'm not going to talk to anyone anymore because no one wants to talk to me anymore.
So talking about friends, there's this one friend that you've had for a long time. His name is Matt, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about him.
Okay, he runs a restaurant. So
Micheal was jokes from the start. Straight up, as you know, tells it like it is. I remember just him saying gangster cheese, like, what's that? What is gangster cheese? What's so gangster about you guys? Name's Matthew Mahorn. Started Gangster Cheese in September 2016, coming on 8 years now, which is crazy to think. Started with a little grill, calling up family and friends, going to Thanksgiving parties, Easter, asking, can I feed you guys? Going to friends' office parties, feeding them one by one, saving up, getting a tent set up, and then getting a food truck, and eventually a restaurant. People believe gangster is, the pow pow, gun gun. But being a black male in the world, I'm trying to stay away from the typical stereotypes. So I changed the narrative of what gangster meant to something positive, where I believe it's someone who takes care of takes care of yourself first, takes care of your family, friends, your community, and so on. So I remember him kind of taking a step back and being, okay, that's interesting what that is, but it kind of made him think, which was cool.
So, what was your first impression of Michael, and when did you meet him?
Met him, I believe, in 2000, summer or winter of 2017, I believe. Bruce Mills Conservation Area. Meeting him at first, the McGangster was his choice, and of course he asked what the McGangster was. So again, I told him what that was. It was our take on a Big Mac, our most popular grilled cheese we have. The ground beef, smoked bacon, dill pickles, and gangster sauce in a grilled cheese. I remember him firing right back, telling me that bacon isn't in a Big Mac.
I think one of the big things, like around the time, 2017, I don't even know how old he was. He might have been like 11, 12.
Really?
Or
Wow.
something.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
something like that.
Yeah.
And one of the big things he's emphasized to me is like, as well as my mom, why I got him out of the house is because he has a lot of allergies, and you know, it's been difficult balancing those, you know what I mean, like peanuts, sesame seeds, like nuts, like it's pretty tough when you realize, like, you know, when you're actually with someone who actually has like
Allergies.
anaphylaxis to that as well,
Yeah.
right? It can be hard to get around. So having a place where it was like he knew it was safe 100%, you know, he felt a lot more comfortable with that, you know.
So, what's your first memory of your brother?
Shoot, I think you gotta take this one home, bro.
We
You're the younger
used, the only things I can really remember with him was sitting on the iMac all the time, making these random videos of us trying to be funny just because we had nothing else to do with our freaking life. So that was like our way of hanging out when we were like younger.
I remember you had this little like radio thing
Oh, Jesus Christ.
that you would sing into.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wasn't huge on singing, but I remember you loved that thing. It was like this little blue, like, little box. It was like
Yeah,
a
I
toy.
know.
Yeah, that's something I remember a lot of. You know, you had that thing everywhere you went for a long time.
I know.
You know, you would just sing into it.
Michael had a hard time adjusting to certain situations and environments, and you wanted to do things that were in those environments. So you kind of did different things. You did things with your dad, I did things with Michael, and I think that has a large part to do with the lack of closeness as the two of you were growing up. As the both of you have matured, and as you get older, you're coming a little bit closer together. And a large part of that has to do with maturity, right? Michael's catching up. His development is catching up to his age, right? You're at an age where you're learning more about the importance of communication, the importance of patience, and those two coming together kind of help build the bond.
How would you describe some of the challenges you've had raising Michael?
Well, I think as a parent, it comes with the territory. You're going to have challenges raising your child, whether they are on the spectrum or have autism, right? Just being a parent is a struggle and a challenge at times in itself. Having to navigate with Michael having autism, I always kind of knew there was something different about Michael. So my approach to parenting him easily adapted. What your dad and I actually set out to do is educate ourselves. Like, how do we help our child, right, and ourselves navigate through this challenge? And it is a challenge. I'm not gonna lie. You know, a lot of people who I speak to ask me, how do you handle all these things so well? The one thing that I think helped me is that, can I use an expletive? Because I don't really give a shit what other people are thinking, right? And that's the problem with our society that we live in. And it was, for me growing up, it's like, oh, people are watching me. What are they gonna think if I do this, right? But with my son and the way I am now and how I've developed over time, parenting him, it's like, how do I get my child out of that uncomfortable situation? That has to be my focus.
So what have you learned about yourself during this project?
What I learned about myself, there was a few things that I mentioned I didn't even know about myself because I don't ever think about them at all. Now I realize how much I've improved in behavior wise. We were talking about how I acted when I was a kid and how I act now. And I actually now realize how much my friend Matt has done for me. I didn't really think about it that much until I actually realized what he's actually done. When I started talking with him about it.
I would say the biggest thing I learned is that, strangely enough, I don't know how to ask. I don't know how to engage with someone who has difficulties opening up, you know?
Yeah.
This whole process, made me realize, man, I'm actually not, amazing at asking questions, trying to...
I know.
You know, take the time.
I saw up there already.
The last question I'll ask you is, what do you think Micheal should take away from this documentary?
What do I think Micheal should take away from this documentary? I think a big piece of it is that my hope is that Micheal realizes his capabilities. He's capable, right? He's not always given an opportunity to speak to people and share his story, right? And a lot of it comes from I use this term because that's how most people reference it, is lack of social skills, right? So if he doesn't often talk to people, have conversations, to put him in an environment where he's not initiating a conversation, but he's a voice that's given a space to be heard, right? And that in itself, I think, speaks volumes. Whoever watches this documentary that you all are putting together, my hope is that their takeaway will be, hey, maybe if we give people a chance, they have a lot to offer. And my hope for Micheal is that he takes away in some way, shape, or form that he's advocating for people like himself on the spectrum, neurodiverse, or however people want to label it or call it. And for him to be okay with being different, right? That's what makes our world go round, you know? Anything else?
I think those are all the questions I have for you currently.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me.
Isn't it the closet rooms where I actually too?
Micheal, what are you watching?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah.
Micheal.